All right, everyone. Today we are joined by James Smith from the Château Wright Winery in Fort Davis, Texas. We are so excited to have James, and we are so excited to talk to someone about Texas wine. Because I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I have ever had wine from Texas before.
Yeah,
James,
it's
thanks
my
for
first
thanks
two.
for being on the show.
Yeah, welcome. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
thank you guys for
Now,
having
James,
me.
you are not in Texas right now. Where are you?
I'm in Mexico City right now. I'm just taking a little break, hanging out at a friend's
Man,
wine bar.
that's awesome.
Fantastic. We
Living the
should have done
dream.
this remote with you over there. What were
Yeah,
we
that's
thinking?
right.
Who planned this? Because somebody really dropped the ball on our end.
Yeah, my bad.
What's
My
the
bad.
what's the wine scene like in Mexico? I've never been there.
Uh, it's growing. So initially, the reason why I came to Mexico City, not that was not the first time I came to Mexico City, but the reason why I came back last it was like October 2023. I do a lot of work with the Texas Department of Agriculture, and at the time we had basically a Texas summit, kind of showcasing Texas wines, thinking about possibly selling here in Mexico. At the same time, like Mexican wine is starting
Oh,
to like
Hmm.
jump up in popularity, and they're probably about the same size as Texas as
Oh,
far as like producers, amount of wine that's made.
that's
I
very
don't know if
cool.
I've ever seen
Yeah.
Mexican wine. Wow. Okay.
It's it's amazing. I've been trying a lot of it, mostly in Texas, but then coming here, it's not everywhere, but it's in more places. But since we're so close, we're in Fort Davis. We're about 4 hours from Chihuahua City. So 2 or 3 years ago, I went down there and checked out a winery and a vineyard down there. And then this last June, there's a company. It's an international competition called the CMB, the Concours Mondial de Brussels. They're based out of Brussels. They invited a couple people from Texas to come out and judge the reds and whites competition in Guanajuato. So me and one other girl, we both went down and judged in June. And I think they just invited me back to go to China. So China is going to be the next competition.
Oh my
Oh
God.
man,
Yeah, so
that's
it was
awesome.
like it was insane. It was a 5 day trip. Everything's paid for, and you're working the entire time. I mean, you're not working the entire time, but you're trying through. I think it did about 160 wines in a couple days,
My
Wow.
God.
and then it's just from like 2 p.m. on. It's just drink, 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 and you're like, and then you got to wake up the next morning at 7 a.m. and it's all over again and again and again and again.
Is
Yeah,
that even work?
Man,
Is that even
tough
work?
work. Somebody's got
that's a
to
lot of
eat.
Yeah,
spitting.
seriously.
While we were in Guanajuato, we got to try through all of their stuff over there, and then I met a couple producers at the wine bar I'm at right now. There's a producer from Querétaro, which is like an hour and a half, 2 hours from here. Um, and we tried a bunch of Mexican wines. We had a whole flight of Malbec from Coahuila, and they're amazing. The table that I was at, there was the lead sommelier for North Macedonia. There was like a wine. She's like, I'm a newscaster, blogger. I don't know, famous blogger on the table. Someone from Italy, someone from Spain, and then me. And we all thought it was from Italy because they were really well made. Like the flavor was amazing. So I mean, Mexico and Texas are both kind of up and coming. I think
Wow.
Mexico is spending a lot more money promoting that fact. But there's a lot more money that
Huh.
they have available, I guess.
Gotcha.
This is wild, man. We just started. Like, literally, one of my first questions was just going to be to like tee us up and be like, James and I met at a wine enthusiast event. What was a Texas wine person doing in New York? But you've been in like China and Brussels and Mexico, and so like New York was just something else, I
Yeah,
guess.
we went to Pro Wine Germany last year, also in March, and it's insane. Like I used to do trade shows, and the building that we're in was its own trade show as far as size goes. But there were 17 buildings in it. I think just our
Mm.
building alone had 300 producers. Each of us had 5 to 7 wines.
Wow.
Jeez.
So we were across from,
That's wild.
Japan, Great Britain, China, Israel, um, Lebanon.
Man.
It was New World wines. So
So you've tasted the
Wild.
world. That's incredible.
yeah, yeah. Well, I've tried to. I honestly I find those wines more interesting, and honestly, price point wise, like the places where you've never heard of, like they're really well priced, and you're getting like an amazing bang for your buck. Don't get me wrong. If someone else is buying, I'll drink. Napa Cab or Bordeaux or Burgundy, Champagne, Barolo. But like I'm not.
100%.
I'm trying to stick between the 20 and 50-ish range. And honestly, you go to any other country, Bulgaria, Armenia, South Africa. I mean, you get amazing wine for $20, $30.
It's like our whole
awesome.
motto here. That's
Yeah,
exactly
you're
what we try
speaking
to
our
do.
language, like-
Yeah. Yeah.
Like one of
that's
our
amazing.
favorite wines on this show has been like the Vinho Verde that we had from Portugal, and it's just like that costs $7.
Hell yeah.
And it's just
Incredible.
like
That's an
fun wine,
outlier
it's
too.
good.
Let's be real. Like that's
Sure.
For sure.
that's way too good for
You know,
$7.
it is and it isn't. Portugal, for instance, is like, the difference between $9 and $11 is vast. And then 11 to 13, and then 13 plus, like you're getting a Burgundy quality wine for
Wow,
under $20 all day long.
That's awesome.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like
Love
that.
that.
Let's do that. Let's drink Burgundy quality wines under $20. It's a new name for our show.
Yeah.
The problem is we have to find them here. They're not very easily findable in the United States. Or are they?
I mean, New York, you probably have an easier time in New York finding those, but Florida, I don't know. I've been to Florida, and I mean, I tried a couple Florida wineries, and it's all
Very, very
um,
sweet.
Muscat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or they import the grapes or the wine from California.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, I think that. What's the one near you guys that I went
Yeah.
to when I was down there? I had to take like all their stuff was imported from California.
Mm-hmm. I want to say
Yeah,
not
that was it.
Claremont.
Yeah, you guys are out of Orlando, right?
I don't know.
Area?
Yeah, we're in
Yeah, I
Orlando.
think I went to the same one. It's like all Napa, except for their sweet whites,
Yeah.
and that's what they brew.
Yeah,
Yep. That's exactly it. I can't remember the
But-
name of it
hold
for the life
on.
of me. But
you do like a tasting, like a flight for like $15. It's a great deal.
Yeah.
But it's also
Lake
like,
Ridge.
you're not
you better like
drinking-
that sweet
Yeah,
wine.
I really just
Lake Ridge,
hate like
Lake Ridge,
the
nailed it.
the whole
Yeah, that's it.
like people buy Napa grapes and then they're like, oh, it's gonna be an amazing wine, and it's like trash. Like just because it's from there doesn't mean it's gonna be.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Quality.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, man, we like jumped right in. We've covered half the globe already. How did you get here, James? Like, how did you get to what you're doing? Like, where did your journey into wine start, and like, how'd you end up where you are?
I used to sell tequila when I was like 21. I did a huge promo. It was like a year and a half long promo with whatever that tequila, and made a lot of money doing like easy money doing that at 21. You're getting like 25 an hour basically to sit there and drink with people and convince them to buy your product. So I very much meshed really well with that concept, and I was really good at it. So a couple other companies had reached out, and I started selling other spirits, wine, beer, and I did that for about another year after that. But I didn't really get into wine until an ex-girlfriend, like she was really into wine, so we started drinking that together. And then I just kind of nerded out on it, started doing a little more research, and then I would travel a lot. I used to sell timeshare for about 3 years, and we got basically a stipend to go eat every day. So I would basically skip lunch, eat breakfast at the hotel, and then spend like $70 on dinner. A couple of us would split a bottle of wine, try through pretty much whatever we could get our hands on, and then try a bunch of great restaurants as well. So that kind of started food and wine together, and had a couple jobs in between. Started a produce company, did food production for a little while with a friend of mine in San Antonio. And then once that closed, before that, I had met this guy, which is one of the owners of Château Wright currently. And he was like, you need to come out to the vineyard and check it out. And my mom has a construction company in San Antonio, so I would help on construction projects while I was out there in exchange for free wine and stay and food.
That's a deal.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Once I stopped doing the produce company, I took a month-long vacation and I just went out there every other week or so. And then I just started picking up different jobs, and that was about 7 years ago.
Wow. So you've been with
Nice.
Château Wright for 7 years now?
Yep.
Wow.
Awesome.
That's very cool. So when I kind of want to know a little bit more then too, just about Château Wright, and I really want to know what kind of stuff, were you working the fields when you first were at Château Wright? Like, what was that like when you first got there?
Yeah, so mostly it was just construction. So like
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
I kind of just went out and I was finishing projects, or they needed help with certain things. We are trying to plant more vineyard space. So I was putting in T-posts and planting plants,
Gotcha.
mowing, just simple stuff. But since
Yeah.
when I started, we weren't really selling a lot of the wine. Like we were making some here and there, but it wasn't like a full on
Hmm.
business. It was two friends that had started it, and then one of them was out there most of the time from like February through November is our season. He's our main grape grower and winemaker, and then him and I will do like blends, and we'll taste their stuff, and I'll give my opinion, and we'll kind of adjust as needed. But for the most part, it's been pretty small. We did like a
Hmm.
soft launch in our tasting room in 2019. So like I started in January, early January 2019,
Cool.
and
Not the easiest time to be starting anything new, right? Yeah.
yeah, well, we actually planned our grand opening first week of March
Oh
2020.
my
So it was
gosh.
very
Oh,
interesting
Jeez.
interesting time.
No. It's a slow
Yeah.
year.
Well, I mean, on
Brutal.
paper, we
Not
just
much
kind of
happened.
skyrocketed. So like we started very slow in 2019, and then 2020 a little bump,
Yeah.
and then 2021 when things started to ish calm down, it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. So we've on paper we look fantastic. Um,
It's amazing. That's
but
great.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
we're really small. We do 2,000 maybe 2,500 cases a year. Um, Everything's done in house. So we
Wow.
grow the grapes, we make the wine. Um, Everything's natural ferment, and then we do minimal fining and filtering. We actually don't filter at all.
Wow. That's very cool. So what's I guess then that's almost more old world than it is new world in style. Is that
Yeah,
kind of what you look for when it comes to style of the wines that you make?
yeah. So we kind of try to emulate Châteauneuf du Pape a little bit. So like that's kind of the not the
Okay.
benchmark, but kind of
Wow.
like the area where we like to go.
Sure.
We all three like wines from that region, and we
Hmm.
we grow most of those grapes. So we're doing Tempranillo, Grenache, Mourvèdre, Cab Sauv, Petit Verdot, Viognier, Marsanne, Roussanne, Malbec, Cinsault. And then we had some Grenache Blanc and
Awesome.
some Claret, but I don't know how those are doing. I haven't checked them in a year, but that's not my job. So it's
Very cool. So you guys making mostly reds then,
red.
and then you have, I
We do a little
mean,
bit of both.
maybe a white,
Yeah,
little
so
bit
we,
of both.
we, we really don't make a lot of wines that are crossover. So like when you're looking at like the spectrum of wine, like we do like a pet nat sparkling, we do some sparkling cider,
Mm,
we do pet nat mead, and then we do light whites, heavier whites, some rosé, some light reds, medium bodied, heavier reds, and then we'll do a kind of port style red, and then we'll do a late harvest Viognier, which is our sweet white.
ooh,
So
Wow.
like none of the wine tastes exactly like anywhere near each other. So they kind of fit all of the spots. Like if someone's looking for a particular wine, we probably have something that'll work.
Yeah. Super wide range too, for
Yeah.
sure. That's super cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're kind of in a unique part of Texas too. So like Texas is massive, of course. So we're in far west Texas,
Hmm.
kind of closer to El Paso. We're still about 2 hours away, but we sit up in the mountains. We're at 5,400 feet elevation and on volcanic soil. So it's a very unique area. Volcanic soil is really only mostly in that area, at
yeah.
least our type of soil. And then our elevation, we're like a little higher than Denver, which
Wow.
most people think Texas is
Yeah.
flat
Sure.
desert.
Oh, that's interesting. Because I was going to ask, the heat in Texas must be difficult, but if you're that high up, that
Yeah.
probably some of that cooling influence just purely from altitude.
Yep. Yeah. We have a huge diurnal shift. So like during the summer, our high could be 90, 95. We seldom hit 100, but maybe for an hour or less. And then at night, it'll
Wow.
be 50, 55. Like a
Wow.
hot
That's
night for us
awesome.
is
I had
70.
no idea.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask, like, Texas is not known for wine, may at least outside of Texas. Like, it sounds like that's a changing, hopefully a changing marketplace. But like, what are some of the other challenges? It sounds like you have a section of Texas that, at least from a climate standpoint and the volcanic soil standpoint, is advantageous. Or have you found other challenges to growing in Texas?
Kind of the main challenge that we're hitting right now is that all of the wine that we produce all of the Texas wineries, I think maybe like 8% actually makes it out of the state. So I mean, most of it's drank
Oh.
inside the state,
Okay.
which is why, like most publications, they don't do any real stories on the wines themselves. They'll do it on the region. They'll do it on like tourism. If we win awards and stuff like that, they'll write about that. But for the most
Sure.
part, they don't write because for their readers, they're like, okay, this Texas wine, other than in Texas, where can I find it? And that's the struggle right now.
Is it
Yeah.
a distribution thing with the whole like U.S. 3-tier system? Is
Yeah,
that the
there's
hardest part?
really little. There's a couple wineries that are a little bit larger. They do distribution. Most of that wine isn't like super quality, and most of them right now are pitting to kind of get rid of those SKUs so they can actually make like
Okay.
better wines. They've kind of built their brands on this like Gallo format that doesn't seem to be working how it
Sure.
used to.
Yeah,
Luckily,
and
in my opinion.
I noticed when I was Googling your Château Wright, and I was looking, I did Google Earth. I wanted to see like what it looked like, and I think I saw the population of Fort Davis is like 950 people.
Yeah, and
so like
yeah, there's no labor force out there. We import all of the people, and by import I mean like we have a kind of an agro-tourism setup where people kind of apply like Airbnb to come work out, and that could be anywhere in the U.S. That could be anywhere in the world. We've had people come in from, I don't know, probably at least 20 plus countries and all over the United States to come work out. So they live on site.
Wow.
We feed them, we house them. And then they kind of learn about Texas wine. They take a couple bottles with them home when they leave, and then pretty much drink whatever they want to drink while they're there.
Way cool.
I'm signing up.
Love that.
they're gonna ship
So
you down there.
this whole past year has been kind of a little faster pace for Texas. So like we've gotten a lot more. So like Wine Enthusiast has written about us a couple times. Texas Monthly has started to promote a little bit more. The Department of Ag has, and they actually just started their wine advisory board, which I sit on as a vice chairman, and then a buddy of mine is with the largest Texas winery right now, Llano Estacado, and he is the chairman. So we've kind of spearheaded promoting outside of the state a little bit more, and out of the country. So we've done Mexico, we did Germany. I've done Mexico a couple of times, and then I've given bottles to people just they'll take them back to France or take them back to Germany or all parts of Mexico. And then there's a couple people that are trying to promote a lot in Tokyo, and there's actually a lot of Texas wine in Canada. Most of our like natural wine producers, they export to Canada.
Really?
James, you know what I think is cool is I was going to kind of ask you about just the future of Château Wright, but you have your hands in I think just the Texas wine community and the growth of Texas wine, which I think is super cool. I mean, what does that look like? You're already kind of talking to just the growth you're seeing right now, but what do you see in the next couple of years, and maybe where's the focus? How are you guys trying to just expand the footprint a little bit?
Yeah, so I think James Suckling just came down and did a judging of Texas wine, so that is starting to come out a little bit.
Nice.
Mexico is interested. Germany is interested.
Cool.
We're trying to go back to Pro Wine Germany this year, and we're trying to go back to Pro Wine Tokyo also. But trying to find money is kind of been the issue. So
Sure.
I mean, Texas is really known for their beef, cotton, peanuts. So a lot of funds are really dedicated towards those things.
Sure.
What does the future hold? I don't even know. Honestly,
Yeah,
That's tough. Yeah.
people are really getting away from the bulk wine.
Yep.
Mhm.
They're wanting to make more quality, and I've tried through a lot of not all of Texas wines, but a significant majority of it, and we're all trying to figure out how to do like an Italian designation of the IBT, DOC, DOCG, but like Texas's version. That way people can, when they go into the grocery store, they see this, symbol, and they're like, oh, that's going to be good.
Right. I love that.
So we're all trying to figure out how to do that without stepping on each other's toes in the process. And
Sure.
everyone thinks their wine is the best. It's great.
Right.
But
Everyone agrees to a set of standards, but
Yeah.
that means other people have
Correct,
to be
yeah.
judged by those standards.
that's kind of the issue. So I think people who don't meet those standards might not participate in that, but the people who want quality Texas wine would. So I think that'll be an uphill battle eventually. But I don't know. Right now, it's kind of a weird time. Wine's going through a bunch of changes in general, and then it's all the everything's like gloom and doom, and the wine industry is in the tanker and stuff like that. And I really think that's only like the bottom two shelves on a grocery store.
Absolutely.
I
totally agree.
The $5-10 bottles of wine that were just meant to chug basically. Which unfortunately has like a significant majority market share. So like, when they're not doing well, everyone sees that.
Yeah, it makes an impact.
For sure.
It almost feels like wine's going through what beer went through like not that long ago, when it's like people wanted more than like Bud Light and everything. Yeah. So then there's like the blow up of microbreweries.
You'd be surprised now, man. The bar that I'm kind of managing right now, it's like the dedicated like Miller Lite, Michelob Ultra drinkers. Like if you don't have that on the menu, they're like
not interested.
I mean, it's never going to go
away.
But
hey, teacher. No, I highly doubt that it ever will. But there's definitely a push towards quality, but quality at more reasonable prices.
100%.
But I think it's less of a wine issue or a quality issue, and more just like everything is twice the price they used to be, and people aren't spending money like they used to.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. There's a lot of wineries changing hands right now. In fact, our majority owner is looking to retire, so we are he is working on selling his piece so that we can find another investor to kind of take us to the next level.
Oh, okay.
Exciting.
So we're trying to finish our vineyard. We've only got 11 acres of 30 planted, so we'd like that, and then we need more equipment and way more space. Because right now we personally sell through all the wine that we make within a year and a half. So nothing sits for too long. Most of it is drank right then and there. There's very few people that I keep in touch with, and most of them are locals or people who've been coming since we opened, that have like a couple bottles of this in their cellar or a couple bottles of that. But most people aren't buying like cases to hold. They'll have like 2 or 3 bottles, and then they'll drink that over the next 5 years.
So guys, I was like, pardon my ignorance towards everything always. Is this, when someone says natural wine, is this in that category, or is this?
This would technically be in that category. Yes. I try not to like market it that way. But we do technically fit in that category. So we grow bioorganic means. We don't pitch yeast, and then we do minimal finding and filtering. If a wine really needs it, we're gonna make it right. But for the most part, if you don't have to do anything, like why were we gonna spend money on that?
Yeah,
absolutely, 100%.
That seems like a good.
So that's kind of the old world style.
Yeah, like tag the niche, but also like not over. Because there's like very anti natural wine people out there, but like. I've had some really good ones that I didn't know were natural wine. I'm drinking it, and then someone's like, haha, that's a natural wine.
Yeah, so like natural wine is so non-specific. It's hard to like pinpoint. Like when they say like natty wine, not natural, like natty wine, like that's going to be some funky stuff, like 0.0 stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you need a little bit of sulfur, or like absolutely, that's
just a little bit.
Just enough to carry it through its lifespan. But yeah, no, I've had some that smelled like feet, or like it immediately just you acid reflux as soon as you sip it, and you're like,
that's
what?
Right.
Like,
that's right.
I can't do that.
Someone's in the corner like, this is so good.
Yeah, and I mean, and there's a market for it, so that's the thing. Is it's just like I think it shouldn't like the whole point of natural wine was kind of like the organics push. Of like, we're not going to get certified organic, but this is a trend that's happening, and if we call it natural wine, then other wine is unnatural or messed with. And then there's a ton of over-engineered wines, which is kind of what we're seeing right now. Is like people don't want that. That there's a lot of like bulk wineries. What they'll do is they'll have a recipe basically, and they're like, these are our fining agents, and this is how much we need for this many gallons or liters, and they just throw it in there whether it needs it or not. And it does whatever it's designed to do so that they can ship internationally and they don't have bottles sent back. And it's kind of like when beer is pasteurized, like it removes something and, it just kind of tastes bland and kind of meh.
Yeah, For sure. I have a lot of thoughts on that. So that's an entire other podcast because I don't think we have enough time this evening.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. But James, tell us where the folks at home can buy some of your wines if they are interested.
In Texas, to be honest with you. Right
Oh,
now,
okay.
yeah, right now you can buy it in our general vicinity. We've got some places in Dallas and San Antonio. Right now,
Are you online
we're
at all?
not shipping wine currently, and we don't have a wine club.
Oh, okay.
When we get a new investor, that is the next plan. We had planned on doing that this year, and then
Nice.
let's change.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So for the listener at home, if you want to invest in a winery, this is your chance. Here you go. Like, this is it. Château Wright, they're looking.
I mean, you never know. Yeah, we've won a lot of awards. We won the Malbec that you guys have right now, our 2021 Best in Class the San Francisco Chronicle, and I think the 2021 won a gold or double gold. We've won top 12 wines in Texas 3 years running, the Malbec twice. And then I've been looking at more like international competitions, which is kind of where I found CMB, and then other things happen instead. So,
Well, I feel that much more honored that you took the time to
Yeah,
send
thank
us,
you.
a bottle of your wine. Now that I know it's not actually shipping out that much, so
yeah, I wanted to lead with a strong foot forward. So, I mean, we have tons of wine, and I don't think any of it is bad, but I do know for a fact that when people try the Malbec, they're like, oh, Texas does make wine. Like it's
Nice.
a change. We had I brought some of that to not this vintage, the 2020 vintage, to Germany, and I had some Armenian guy argue with me that he basically wanted to buy the whole lot. Like he's like, I don't care what it costs, just I want that.
That's amazing.
yeah. I mean, so just like stop and name it. So this is like the Point of Rocks Malbec that was 2021 that you sent to us, and yeah, it's so funny that you said that because right before you hopped on, Colin and I were like shooting the shit, and we poured out a glass, and we were like,
I was shocked, to be totally
this
honest.
is Texas wine. This is
I was shocked.
Yeah.
this is-
Yeah, and we've gotten a lot of really good press on it. It's really interesting. I actually just met a French importer last November, or October, this last year, and they want to put Texas wines into Paris. Apparently, France just found out about Texas barbecue, so they're like, this would go perfectly with a barbecue, and it's from
That's
Texas.
amazing.
So that
Yeah.
could be a potential thing eventually once we get a little bit more funded, because right now it's very, very small. Like our grape grower winemaker him and I do the construction. We help with the winemaking. He does all the grape growing, and I do marketing and sales, and he manages the crews. And like we're it's pretty much like we're doing the jobs of like 3 or 4 people at least, and
That's
it would be
wild.
nice before we start exporting to have a little bit more support.
Sure. Well, I'm
Sure.
honored to be drinking some of your wine because that's
Seriously,
incredible. So thank you so much for
Yeah, absolutely.
sending it to us.
It's honestly Adam White is our head winemaker and grape grower, and he is fantastic. It's always a process. You're always learning every year, but I feel like he just figured out how to grow the grapes the best way we've ever grown them, and the next vintage of all of our wines is probably some of the best wine we've ever made. And right now, it's kind of sitting in barrel, so it's only going upward from here.
Well, I mean, yeah, thank you for sharing this. This is awesome. Colin, Joel, do you guys want to talk about the wine just a little bit so the listeners know like why we're so excited? James, I don't know if you have this with you, but like it is. I don't know if you just carry a bottle with you.
He's probably had
Oh,
it
me?
once or twice if he doesn't have it with him.
Oh yeah, no, I just finished it right now. I came to the bar earlier, and I was letting them try it. She's like showing it off. They're doing some photo thing for this Korean restaurant next door, and they're just like drinking the rest of the bottles.
I don't
Nice.
blame them
Nice.
That's amazing.
because,
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
said, I was shocked at how delicious this is because, this is not in my head what Texas wine is. And if this is what Texas wine can be, sign me up. Because this is fantastic.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I've had a lot of like really, 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 really good reds. I of course think this is one of the top 5 in Texas right now. And I mean, there's so many more things. I mean, we grow in Texas probably like 80 different varietals. So it's just like This is just the Malbec.
Hey, it's I gotta say it's like super unique. Like when we first opened it up, and it smelled like Colin. What are you getting on like? What are you getting on the nose there? Because there's a unique like smell
Yeah.
that I'm not.
It's really earthy. So like where we're at, I mean, we're high elevation in the mountains. The weather is brutal. Everything in the entire area, animals, plants, sun, weather, is designed to kill you. Everything's spiky. There's coyotes and javelinas everywhere. Those little pigs on the back, they're like pygmies. They're like 200 pounds. If you hit them with your car is done.
Mhm.
Like it's
No.
done.
Oh no.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's no shortage of sun. So like we get full ripening every year. We have probably the longest growing season. But all the wind, we'll do probably like 60 to 90 mile an hour like gusts. So what you're tasting is literally the terroir. All the dust that's on the grapes, all the bugs, all the sun, all the water. The water out there is phenomenal. And I mean, there's a lot more of it. It's all an aquifers.
But also such nice fruit too in this wine. I mean, it's just like black fruit, like explosion, but in a really good way. Sometimes when you think of, it can be too much over the top. This is really nice, and it blends in with all those other sort of secondary flavors really nicely.
Tons of color. If you don't wash the glass out, it will stain it, and you won't get it out. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Because sometimes I wait a little too long. Like, dude, I would literally just Google this, just trying to catch the price point real quick without like slowing down our conversation, and pulled up like San Francisco Chronicles wine competition, best Malbec 2024, not out of Texas, just in general, and this got best of class, like top wine, top Malbec. Like,
It's amazing.
you're hiding this stuff. Like, this is so good.
It is fantastic. There's so much going on. It's just so complex. The finish is really nice structure. Really don't, and the finish is fantastic. You kind of get a little bit of that oak, but you still get a ton of that black fruit, and it just seems to last for forever. Like the finish is really really nice and lingering. Sometimes you get a finish that's kind of,
And it's a good thing that it lasts forever.
that's right. That was exactly my
Like, I
point.
want it to.
Exactly my
Yeah.
point. Sometimes finishes can get weird, especially at the end. But this one is like, man, it's delicious and a lovely end to the sip.
And James, Colin is not nice when it comes to wine. I just want you to know that in case you haven't listened to the show that much. Like, Colin is not nice when it comes to wine, so he is not bullshitting you right now because you're on the show.
I'm
a snob,
thoroughly
and he
enjoying
likes
this.
your wine.
It is fantastic wine. Just absolutely delicious.
Yeah, we're really proud of a lot of things we make. We're really well known for the red blends. We're starting to get a little bit more known for, we do 100% Viognier. It's light, bright, earthy, herbal. We have like desert sage that grows up and down the roads, and you can get that in the bouquet, and you can get that in the palate. So like it's literally you're tasting exactly where it came from. That's basically, I mean, that's what the air smells like. That's what the water tastes like. It's a true representation of the area.
You know what's funny is we avoid, we joked early on when we did a couple of episodes where, just the obscurity around the word terroir, right? And how like, it's kind of it can sound almost pretentious if you hear somebody saying it, and we were like, what does it even mean? But when I was drinking this, I was like, wow, this is it sort of made me think I sort of understand when somebody says that, like, this is you're experiencing the terroir. So it's funny that you say that, because that's kind of the experience I had when I was trying.
Yeah, something that I've tried to do really well is taking these complex wine whatever and just explaining it in more layman's terms. And like people come up to the winery. It's a full outdoor patio because at the end of the day, people want to hang out and look at the mountains and the views. Like you can see 20, 30 miles all the way around. And you can show up in a business suit, and you can show up in flip-flops, or straight out of work from construction, covered in paint, and like you feel comfortable and you're hanging out.
James, this has been so cool. Like, there's
cool.
so much. I mean, I feel like you're next time we talk to you, you're gonna be like the mayor of this town. You're just like, oh, I'm doing this and this, and I'm on this board, and I'm doing this, and I'm talking to these people, and it's so cool. Before we let you go, can we play a game? Will you play a game with us?
Sure.
Awesome. So we have a game that we like to play on the show called Pick Your Poison, which is pretty much Would You Rather, but it's wine, so it's Pick Your Poison. And we just name, two scenarios, and you let us know which one you'd rather deal with.
Okay.
And we're all joined in. So I have one to start us off, if that's okay, guys.
Yes.
And then anyone can jump in whenever. So here's the pick your poison. Ready? You have guests over for dinner, and you go downstairs and you realize for some magical reason your pantry only has 2 bottles of wine left, and you have to choose between a anonymous random bottle. The label has peeled off. You have no idea what it is, how long it's been there, or the shittiest supermarket box wine that everyone knows. And it is what it is. Are you going back upstairs with the mystery bottle or the Behringer Pinot Grigio box or whatever it is?
No, I'll take the gamble.
100%.
I'll take the
1
gamble all day.
million%.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this could kill us, but it could
Yeah,
be
it could
awesome.
be amazing. And honestly, at the end of the day, if it's shit, you just tell them it's corked. And they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
you go.
right.
That's
Who's
it,
gonna-
yeah.
Who's gonna know the difference? And then you got to go get the
Then you gotta go
shitty
to-
box
And
wine
at least
anyway.
that way, there's something fun to maybe not
Yeah.
knowing what you're getting
Oh,
too. Like if
totally.
you're taking the big name, my God, you know exactly what you're signing up for, and it's nothing good. At least there's a chance.
Yeah, and I had to like, you see all these memes online, and I had to like Rombauer and Belgloss and all that stuff, and I was just like, I needed to try them again. Like I had a couple people that had a bottle, and I was just like, I didn't spend any money on it. I'll get a try, and I was just like, well, I was like, no, I can't.
Yeah.
Like you taste it, and you're just like, oh my God, this is rough. And then you're like, oh,
For sure.
like when people buy wine and they spend $50 for a bottle of that, and then they take it home and they drink it, and they're like, maybe I don't like wine. This is supposed to be amazing. It's really well rated, and
for
it's
sure.
$50. It must be good. Like other wines must be shit. And then they're like,
That-
I wonder why the wine industry is
Yeah.
suffering. It's like, well, it's not that hard to figure out.
I think it's also it's having the point of reference to know that what you're drinking is crap or good. As a reformed wine drinker myself, who brought a layer cake onto one of our early episodes
Proudly.
because it was proudly because I was like, this is a $11 bottle of wine. I think is really solid. And my wife and I would bring to a Jersey BYOB restaurant and like have them open up a layer cake for us and put it in a little ice bucket. But I didn't know.
You know what though? Like, it's not even that. It's like, okay, so majority of like if you ever go to like a steakhouse, like I can like any steakhouse in any part of the country at this point. The way that these like distributors make these like brands pop so much is, well, one, the brand offers to basically pay the distributors employees essentially with bonuses and whatever the fuck. But the way that they get them to kind of sign on to this deal is the distributor will offer discounts on their liquor if the distributor can come up with the wine menu, and they'll print your menus. So like if you're going in and you're like, I'm not super comfortable picking these wines, but they're going to do all this labor and print these, and I get a discounted liquor. So you see this wine menu everywhere,
Sure.
which is unfortunate, but those are the ones that you're going to see. You're going to see a
Yeah.
Belglow, you're going to
Yeah.
see a Rumbauer, you might see Behringer, you might see shitty Robert Mondavi, you might see I don't know, just stuff that's not appealing. And then like now being on the bar and restaurant side and like buying for them, I'm still putting like Texas wines on the menu, but then I'm trying to find like interesting, cool things. And all those wines are like $5 to $12, $15 at the most a bottle. And then if you want something more local, maybe higher quality, you're starting at $13, $15, $20 a bottle. So your markup is much, much different.
And it's a curse of knowledge now because now I'm like opening up the the wine lists when we go to a nice restaurant and like you're saying, like I'm like looking at these bottles and I'm like, I can't pay $70 for this bottle. I know this bottle retails for $22 and I know it's not great.
Right. And they
Like,
paid $9 for it. Like that's the part that even like gets worse is you see the behind the scenes and they're like, they paid $9 for this bottle, and on their wine menu it's $70.
Right. It's marked up so far beyond what it's worth. But just to go full circle to your point earlier, that is where it's really important to have knowledge about other regions and other areas, and to be able to get out of like I have to order a Pinot Noir, I got to order a Savagnin, because like I have found my like saving grace to be able to flip to like the Rioja section of a menu at a nice place, because I'm like, there's only so many Riojas out there like that people know of, so like I can find a halfway decent deal as long as I get out of the traditional reds and the traditional whites.
Yeah, something I'm really trying to do at this bar is basically like the places that I like to go to. I like to go look at a menu, and there's a shit ton of options between $30 and $60. And me and my friends go in there. All of us buy a bottle each at $30, $40. Because I mean, you're gonna buy 2-3 glasses, and you're probably spend about the same. And we can all go in there, grab a bottle each, but then we're like moving through 4 bottles at the table, not like 4 glasses each.
Brilliant.
Or 8 glasses. Like you're making more on your markup, but you're losing.
Yes.
And then I'm definitely gonna go back to that place. So like, anytime I want to go drink wine, I'm gonna go straight back to there. Hey, I'm gonna get another bottle, and you can kind of go and try some things. So like I put a Bulgarian Cab Sauv on the menu for like $25 a bottle. We've got all kinds of stuff. We've got Italy, we've got Spain, we've got France, we do have some California, we do have some Texas. But like I'd like to get Michigan, I'd like to get some Finger Lakes, I'd like to get more Mexico. Like other South Africa, we actually have a South African cab on the menu. It's
maybe
phenomenal.
that will be your redemption, Joel. For
Ridiculous.
There you go.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to get the information.
You can find it. Anything from Stellenbosch is fantastic. Not just Stellenbosch, but Stellenbosch for me is like a region that I really enjoy.
I mean, see, me too. And these guys, I brought a Pinotage from Stellenbosch, and these guys were not fans, but
Pinotage is a little
enjoy
polarizing. It
the
can be
region.
cloying and heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, they go cab everywhere. I like blends, to be honest, because like from a winemaking standpoint, it's like cooking. Like if you're just doing, I don't know, like just salt on something, like you're gonna get one layer, one note. But if you're using salt, pepper, cumin, whatever, like you can fill in the gaps a little bit easier. So like blending wine is way better in my opinion.
This is what I'm gonna do then next time I bring something from South Africa. Also, if you don't mind, that leads perfectly into my pick your poison, because my pick your poison, James, was inspired by you, and ties directly into that. So here, pick your poison. Would you rather be a world-renowned winemaker, but you can only eat Subway sandwiches for the rest of your life, but you have access to all the best wines, or a world-renowned chef, you have access to all the best foods, all the best ingredients, but you can only drink bottom shelf grocery store wine for the rest of your life? Pick your poison.
This is mean, Joel. This is a mean one.
Not bad, huh?
Yeah, good. Yeah, well done.
That is tough.
No, that's tough. That's tough because I really love both those things. It's like choosing between children.
Yeah.
Subway isn't horrible, but like I love food way too much, and I would have to give up wine and drink other things.
Yeah.
But I couldn't give up food like ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fair answer, man. Yep.
Hey, you know what? Give me those Subway sandwiches, man. I spent 90% of my life eating the same. You guys lived with me. I ate the same thing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day. I love a meatball sub, so I can rock that as long as I get to keep choosing my wine. So Subway, sandwich me up, guy.
I think I'm going Subway sandwiches too. I like a good Subway sandwich from time to time. If it's the only thing, it might get boring. But if I was drinking, the world's best wine, that might make up for a crappy sandwich every day of my life. But who knows?
Ooh, man, I think I'm gonna let my wine palate regress slightly and stick with the good food and experiencing that.
That's fair.
So I think I'm with you, James. Yeah.
Good. Well done with the polarizing pick your poison, Joel.
Thank you. Hey, they say it's a tough game. It's a tough game, but
That's what everyone says.
we're all making
Colin,
it
you got one for us?
Yeah, sure. We'll wrap it up here. Would you rather, or pick your poison,
Come on,
a
man.
wine that smells amazing, some of the best wine you've ever smelt in your entire life, but tastes terrible, or a wine that smells terrible but is one of the best wines you've ever had in your entire life? So can you get past the smell?
Yeah, I could get past the smell, but not the
100%.
taste.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you're gonna want to drink it. So like, it doesn't matter if it smells beautiful. You're gonna want to drink it anyway.
That's true. Very
Absolutely.
true.
It feels like the smell one's
Yeah.
a trick. You're like, oh, this smells so good, and then you just keep sipping, and you're like, what am I doing? This is terrible. Oh, but it smells
Why?
so good.
Do this.
I've actually had a couple of those. Like, you run into some wines that just off-putting on the nose, but then you try it and it opens up, and you're like, oh, this is way better.
For sure.
Yes.
I mean, we had that Carmen that one time, which it wasn't a good wine, but the smell was so bad, it was hard to even analyze the taste of the wine because the smell was so gag reflexy that like we couldn't even get there. It was a Carmen, was it Merlot? Was it a Carmen?
It was Merlot.
The Carmen
Yeah.
Merlot was just
That
like,
was garbage.
I had one. It was an unfinished one. It was another Texas producer, and it was 100% Petit Verdot. And the smell was okay, but literally the first taste of it on the drink was amazing. And then it was the most bitter thing I've ever had in my life. And you couldn't get the taste out. So you're just chasing that high.
oh no.
Just keep sipping the whole time. And it was so gross on the back palate. You're just like, what?
Oh, that's terrible.
It's a sad world.
Maybe that's the plan too. Just give you a little taste of the amazing, and then let you just keep trying to find it again.
Well,
Love it.
man, James, thank you so much. This was awesome.
Super fun.
I
Awesome.
thought I was going to learn this much, and I ended up learning this much. And the wine you shared with us is so good.
So good.
I think that's the coolest thing. It just eyes open to just how cool and great Texas wine scene
For
is,
sure.
man. I want to experiment a little bit more. And thanks for sharing it with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally. Is there anything else you want the listeners at home to know? Anything at all? If someone wants to invest, like, who should they call? Like, what else would you like?
I don't know. Come visit Texas. I mean, honestly, just keep an open mind in general. Like with wine, there's so much good wine all around the world, and it's just like,
Yeah.
but people keep drinking this grocery store shit. That's probably the most unfortunate part. Is like people really
Yep.
Yeah.
only spend their money on brands that they are familiar with, and they're like, but there's like a million other wines that are way better.
Yeah.
Preach. That's why we're here. That's what we're trying to do.
Welcome to Stop Wasting Your Wine.
Exactly. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, James, thank you so much. Appreciate you very
That
much.
was awesome.
This has been great. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.